Hey guys, happy Thursday. Thanks for stopping by for another episode here at alliseeisW, where we talk about stocks, crypto, and finance. In today's video, we'll be covering latest updates on ETH, as well as talk about SharpLink Gaming ticker SBET, why I believe that ETH and SBET have the potential for significant bullish runs. Now, if you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing for more related content, and stay until the end where I'll be giving you price predictions of ETH, SBET, and a video clip of the CEO, Joe Rubin. Let's get started, guys. Ted posts today, global M2 supply predicted this dip perfectly. The next stop is ETH hitting 5,600 before any major correction. So what we see in white is the M2 money supply. And with, the price of ETH, we had that slight pullback just recently. I mean, it was kind of like getting to the prior resistance of 4,000. Obviously, that was the resistance, and now we're flipping the switch, that being the support. This is just a normal stair step climb as we get ready to break through above 5,000. We haven't even got to Ethereum's all-time high yet, which is back in 2021. So very bullish. I really do think that this is just a short-term hiccup with shakeouts of retail before the whales start loading up. In fact, we're getting a lot of investors buying up those who have big time money. So eventually we're going to see ETH, take off. Ted also posts the US government bought 332,000 worth of ETH. They now hold, look at how much they hold worth of ETH. And this is all through Coinbase hot wallet by the US government. That just tells you that the government believes in ETH. In fact, President Trump and, Eric Trump and his family, they all hold on to ETH as well. Look on chain posts this Bitcoin OG is going crazy long on ETH and buying ETH spot. Over the past 2 days, he sold 2,970 Bitcoin worth 337 million open ETH longs, totaling 135,000 ETH worth, $577 million and bought 50,000 of ETH at 215 million in spot. That just shows that the Bitcoin whales, they believe in the use case with ETH as well, especially with all of these ETH treasury companies coming out and financial institutions like BlackRock, Fidelity buying tons of ETH to support their ETH ETFs like ETHA, Grayscale, ETHE. Tom Lee posts, forwarding, someone else's post from Leo. Coinbase CIO Eric Peters says the whole financial system is going to move to ETH as a foundational layer. And Tom says, agree. And, we're not bullish enough. Things are really changing fast and furious. And at one point, ETH is going to be the new Bitcoin. Let's take a look at this post. Arthur Hayes, who's very bullish with Bitcoin and ETH, he's saying, Arthur Hayes just admitted he bought back ETH because the chart says it's going higher. He sees ETH running up to 20,000 this cycle. That's very bullish. Miles posts this is a crazy chart. ETH is now flipping Bitcoin for Treasury-company trading volume. To be honest, looking at this image makes me think ETH still has a lot of catch up to do versus Bitcoin. And this is the far less saturated trade. So we see, MSTR, everyone knows about MSTR with Bitcoin HODL, looking at, BMNR and SBET as the next, top three lines that are up. I mean, the top three volume shares would be MSTR, BMNR, and SBET. SharpLink posts today how SharpLink works in 3 steps. One, accumulate ETH. We raise capital and acquire ETH in the most accretive way possible. Two, activate ETH. Nearly 100% of our ETH is staked, compounding yield. Three, concentrate ETH. All of it's wrapped in SBET, a NASDAQ listed equity that aims to grow ETH per share for stockholders. The asset is ETH. The ticker is SBET. Let's go. Nicholas posts about SBET. He's saying SBET daily RSI at support, Bollinger Bands tightening. I think we see a bounce to $30 soon. So put it in the comments how high you think SBET can go in the next couple of weeks. What your price prediction is. I mean, I definitely do do think, we're just at that basement low right now at the support before that run up. Wayne poses liquidity as King SBET looking for potential reversal, trading around $18-19 weekly and daily charts showing sell signals, pink diamonds, and a bearish MACD crossover, but higher low suggests support building. Support near $18 with resistance at $22. While activity remains absent and volume tapered off, oversold RSI could lead to possible bounce. Monitoring SBET daily for shifts. Long-term holders might see $18 as an accumulation zone. Focus on the bigger picture, position accordingly. The ticker is SBET. So, anytime when we see these blue diamonds, that's an indicator for us to take advantage. And the pink diamond is where you would expect, bearish activity. But now that we're seeing a blue diamond, things are looking very solid. I'm expecting a reversal on the RSI. Let's take a look at technical analysis of ETH. So we're looking at the daily candle. Obviously, we see this nice higher highs, higher lows. Back in July when ETH, broke through the 4,000 range prior resistance, it had to have a pullback, right? You can't just have one linear straight shot. Otherwise, everything will just be going up. So ever since it broke through 4,000, it had a, correct, cool down on the relative strength. And then it created a base support at 3,300. So 7,000 drop off from that run up top. And as we continue to climb up, we notice, the prior resistance got close to the all-time high of 2021, didn't quite get there yet. However, with every run up top, you have to have some pullback to create a new base. So now, having a new support level at 4,000, that's definitely a win because previously we had support at like 3,300. The fact that we're at the support of 4,000, that's very bullish. We're consolidating to the upside. I definitely do think in the coming, whether that's going to be next week onward, we're going to potentially see, ETH breakthrough like 4,800, 5,000 plus. But just looking at the technicals, we see volume, steadily increasing as well. Retail's been selling out, but whales continue to buy. And when you look at the overall technicals, good news is we're hovering above the Ichimoku cloud. That's a good sign. We don't want to be below the clouds. Otherwise, there's going to be that gravitational pull down. I'm very bullish. I really do think there's huge upside. ETH hasn't even broke out into its all-time high yet. I mean, 2021 was its all-time high. Very soon, we're going to get to 5,000 towards end of the year. I'm pricing it somewhere around 7,800. Let's take a look at SBET technical analysis. So let's say once ETH starts running, is it going to be next week, the week after? Because SBET has been beat down so much. I mean, yes, it did have a run up top since early July, went all the way up to $40. RSI was like overbought. It had a cool off. Relative strength had a reset, and then just recently $17 to like $28. It had a pullback of $10 already. Relative strength is in the 43 zone. Volume continues to increase. I think as we head into next week onward, we're definitely going to see a nice reversal pattern. I'm pricing it somewhere potentially at $35 is my price prediction in the coming weeks. As ETH starts running up, SBET's going to have a nice bullish run. Let's take a look at the weekly candle. So obviously we have two red weekly candles. It'll be interesting to see how next week plays out. But I definitely do think that we're going to see a reversal pattern. We're going to get back up into that high 20. Get into the $30 range. So this is looking very bullish. Let's say if your cost average is high, dollar cost average. And again, always do your research before investing, but very bullish with the use case with ETH. And SBET is an ETH treasury company that's getting close to like 1 million in terms of ETH holdings.
Why would an investor buy SBET versus an ETH ETF, especially when there's a staking?
So the ETFs will have lower yield. They won't be able to stake all their assets. They'll only be able to stake in vanilla ways, so earn less yield, and they charge fees. So there'll be a fee drag. as well.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed another episode here at All I See Is W. If you did, I'd love for you to hit the like, subscribe, turn on the bell notification for more related content. Thanks, guys. Put your comments and questions down in the comments. Thanks.